Hi, my name's Kevin with Creative Design Woodworking, and today we will be making a Buffalo pencil kit from Penn State Industries, and we will be making it from a piece of plywood. It's a birch plywood. Let me start off by saying that this is a very difficult blank to turn. It can pull the laminations apart. It's fairly hard wood. I'm assuming it, like I said, I think it's a birch plywood. It can tend to bust during even the drilling stage of this. I guess if it's going to bust, that's where I would prefer, just getting started. But all right, let me drill this out and get the blank drilled in. I assume we all know, or glued in. I assume we all know how to do that. So I will shut the camera down and I'll be back in just a moment. Alright, we're back. I've got my blank on the mandrel with the correct bushings, and we are ready to turn. Let me get my tool rest set in place. Check our clearance, and let's go. Take a peek and see what we look like. We are getting there. Let's fire back up and do a little more turn. Move my tool rest in just a pinch. Once I get on down a good ways, that's when I'll start kind of trying to eyeball the shape that I want. You don't want to take too much out before you get to that point. But this kit, it ends up getting turned down quite a bit. So it's not a very fat pencil kit at all. It does have a 3/8 tube, but in the end, there's not a lot of material left on the tube. It's especially once you start getting smaller, you may have to be a little more careful, or this stuff will blow out on you. Especially on those ends. Turn this off, take a look at progress. Oh, yeah. So far so good. What I may do now is I'm going to try to switch over to my skew chisel, and make sure your tools are very sharp when working with this. If you decide to try plywood blank, I may end up having to go back to my gouge, just depending on how tough this is to do with the skew chisel. So let's see what we got. Gonna get these ends to where I want them, that way I can work in and get it to the sides that I want it to be in the center. I know I just need to work down to the end. It's usually the most critical spot. Like to use it as a scraper. Look at our progress. We are still looking okay. Take a little more meat out of the center. Once again, this will be used as a shop pencil, so try to make it as thin as possible. That way, don't have this big bulky thing in the pocket. Look at that. That is looking beautiful. Looking absolutely beautiful. Okay. All right, now the next step would be to do a little sanding on this thing. And it's pretty smooth already. I don't see the need for a lot of sanding, so I'm going to start out with just my little sanding sponge, my sanding block. Let me get my mask on. All right, here we go. As usual, you always go with your grain. All right, and now I'm going to hit it with the little mesh pad here. Doesn't require a lot of sanding on this plywood, and if you use a skew chisel, it tends to come out fairly smooth anyway. I probably could have gotten by without doing it at all. So we're not going to do a lot. And another turner's trick: put a little sawdust in your hand. Turn the lathe up. Just hit it out. If you turn acrylics and other types of plastic or whatever, just always make sure that none of that is in this. It will scratch your blank. Doesn't take much, and she is smooth as glass. Alright. Take me a paper towel. See about getting some dust off. Clean off the mandrel also. Alright, now it is time for a CA finish, and I will pause this and get my stuff ready, and I'll be right back. Alright, we are back. I have my cover up paper towel, make sure I don't get anything on my lathe. I have my paper towel folded up so I can get started. And as usual, I'm going to start with the thin CA glue. So let's get started doing this. Turn my lathe down as low as it'll go. And I'm going to apply this thin CA across. Let her set up. It doesn't take real long. And apply a second coat. Let it set up. And 4/3. That should be it for the thin CA. Toss that towel out. Alright. Just grab another paper towel and get her folded up here. Grab our medium CA. Let's put a couple coats on here. Make sure that's set up good. If you would like, you can spritz it with some activator. Alright. Let's go for another coat of medium. Don't stay on it too long. If it starts to set up on you, if you leave it on there, it's gonna stick your paper towel to it and you'll have a mess. Spritz that with some activator. Cut off my paper towel here. Get that rough texture out of the way. And I'll be putting a total of 4 coats of medium CA. That paper towel shot. Let me grab another one. Just all folded up here. Let that set up a moment anyway. There we go. And I believe I'll just do one more. Spritz that. One more coat here. All right. One last spritz of the activator. And next step will be the micro mesh pads. Polishing it up. I like to wet sand. I think I've mentioned that before. A lot of people don't. Some people do, some people don't. I prefer it. It's to each their own, once again. Well, what I will do next, I try to forget this step every time. Seems like I always have to back up and do this. I'm going to put my tool rest back on and take my skew chisel and just go straight in at the joint of the blank and the bushings and cut that and glue joint right there. It helps you get the bushing loose from the blank without doing any damage. So, alright, we've got that taken care of, so let's get this all out of the way and get back to our micro mesh. Okay, they're color coded. I have my bucket of water here, a little tub of water, and I am going to start at my low setting with the coarsest grit that I have. Start on it here, see if I can get it knocked down, smoothed out. You always need to look for those shiny spots. Once you get to sanding on this, it kind of dulls the finish out. And which the spots that haven't been hit, which would be low spots, they tend to still be shiny. You need your paper towel, wipe it off in between each stage of sandpaper grit, I'm going to go ahead and go to my next stage, which would be the green. I'm going to turn this up just pink. Work on that for a moment. Always need to be sure to keep your pads moving. Never let it sit still. It will burn through and it can even melt your pad. Alright, I'm going to check for those high and lows. And it looks like we're fairly decent. Maybe a few spots here and there. Nothing major. Knock that down. There's a little bit right there. Just on that one side. Hit that just a bit more there. Get her wiped down, and we will now go to the polishing stages. Okay, my next stage will be orange, and since we are polishing stage, I'm going to turn up my lathe. And remember just to keep it moving. It's not hard. So let the sandpaper do the work. You don't have to put a lot of pressure on it. I like to keep mine wet. Just keep it going. Dry it off. Next stage, purple. Keep it moving. It's starting to shine up pretty good. Hit that one more time with that. Alright, dry it off. Next stage is blue. And again, now we are just polishing. But you still can burn through if you stay on it too long and let it heat up too much, especially. So just be sure to keep it moving. Hit it one more again. Down to the gray. Hit that one more time. Okay, and to my polish. Give me a little more out here. Turn this down so it doesn't soak me. I'm going to do this twice usually, sometimes 3 times, depending on what kind of mood I'm in that day. All polished up. Paper towel and get her wiped off. And again, use some Minwax finishing wax. Let it heat up. You can see when it heats up, it's just melting on you. Kind of liquefies in a way. A little paper towel here on this. Alright, and there is our turned plywood blank. I think it turned out fairly well. And again, I'm going to pause the video. And next step will be getting it pressed together. Alright, we are back. We are working on the Buffalo bullet pencil from Penn State Industries. And now we are going to assemble it. I have my blank all turned out, and there's a piece of plywood here. I think it turned out wonderful. It's fairly sharp. I've done several of these. This is a natural color finish. You can dye them, you can stain them, do whatever you want to do with it, and it looks good just about any way you choose to do it. So it's just all personal preference. Once again, I got my light turned over. Just look at that a little closer there. Turned out good. Okay, now just dump this out here. Get to open the pieces up. And like I said before, sometimes it never hurts to take a look at the instructions, but I just did one of these last night, and it's kind of fresh on my brain, and they're very, very simple to do as it is, so not a big deal. You just need to remember to remove your eraser. Once again, pick your end that you want to be the top or bottom. Get your clip in. Almost forgot it. Get that clip lined up wherever you may want it. Move the spacer. And let's get her pressed in. Before I go all the way, I'm going to make sure that that clip is where I want it. You never can be too careful. Well, just press her on in. Good to go. Okay, now you have the coupler on the other end. No need to do that. So let's just get that pressed in there. The pencil out the package that comes with it. If I can get it out. You just slide the pencil up into the supply end tip there, and it'll slide in. Remember to put your eraser back. But there it is. That is a Buffalo bullet pencil kit from Penn State Industries, made from a piece of plywood. And this just pops out, turns around, and you have a pencil kit. It may be a little long when all together, but hey, it's neat. Alright, that should conclude the video. If you like it, and if you don't, you can dislike it. And if you would like, you can subscribe to my channel. I plan on making a few more videos. I'm just getting started. And this actually is only my second project. It turned out a little better than my first, I think. I had some resolution issues with my camera on the first, so maybe we've got all that worked out. And again, this is Kevin with Creative Design Woodworks, and I hope to see you again. Thanks.